We got one here, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Alrighty, hello everyone. This is Lauren Hawkinsmith here from Hold the Line Defense Solutions. Hope you're all well. It has been a minute since I got to make a video. And speaking of which, about 3 months ago, we had a new subscriber named Lay write in and ask how to keep your support hand from sliding forward on the gun whenever shooting rapidly and pulling the trigger very quickly. And so in order to answer that question, I am going to shoot a quick build drill here, and then I'll see if I can get some footage here of close-up of the gun and in slow motion for you as well to try and illustrate this point and answer your question. But before we go do this, look at this craziness that's going on out here today. I don't know if you can see the trees, but we are in the middle of like the nastiest windstorm ever. So I'm going to try and get this accomplished for you here today, but hopefully you can hear me on the camera here and on the audio, and hopefully I don't I don't blow away in the process, right? So I think everything is in frame there. Let me go shoot this for you quick, and then we'll talk about it, if you can hear me, which is a big maybe at this point, right? All right, so here we go. So that is shot in a 196. See if we can, here, let me loosen this up. See if you can see that there. Oh my goodness. Don't know if I'm able to get that to come in or not. Can't see the screen, but first shot was a 109, and then the split was 0.17, 0.17, 0.16, 0.19, 0.18. So that is our split. Take you over here and show you the target. See if I'll zoom in, but we got one here, 3, 4, 5, and 6, all within the A zone. Got pretty close on that one, line break. But anyway, hopefully you can hear me here. We'll chat real quick about this grip control, okay? So first things first, I like to do is I like to make sure that when I get a grip on the pistol, I get my hand behind the pistol here, where my lower palm is behind the gun, not like this, right? Don't want a grip where there's a slant here, but we want our palm behind the gun like that, right? Then I like my fingers towards the front more. I don't like curling my fingers around. I think that creates all kinds of problems. So I try to get my fingers more towards the front and my palm behind the gun. Now, once I get that accomplished, I add my support hand. If you look here, if the camera focuses, you can probably see a nasty callus right here on my finger, right? And so that is from touching where my finger is and the trigger guard. I touch right here, and then I rotate my wrist through so that my hands are tightly together right here. And what I like to do is, you'll see a lot of shooters shoot with their thumb forward, and let me talk about that real quick. So whenever you put your thumb forward, typically you cant your wrist and your wrist locks out like this. Now you do want locked wrists when you shoot, but there's a couple different ways you can lock them. You can lock them like this, or you can lock them in a neutral position. I crushed my elbow in a car accident where someone was texting and driving and ran a red light and T-boned me, and I drive with my elbow resting on the door of the car, right? And so that elbow got crushed years ago. And so it prevents me from really gripping as hard as I used to be able to. So whenever I keep my wrist at a neutral angle, it allows me to use different kinds of pressure than what some shooters use, right? So if you can't your wrist forward and that works for you, hallelujah, great. That's great. I seen many people do that, and that's fine. Okay, but what I like to do is I like to use my shoulders back here to pull in. So what I do is make like a C with this support hand, and I'm pulling back into myself like this with my support hand. And the other thing I do is whenever I get my grip, a lot of people will put their hand on the gun like this and then establish their grip like this. And so they're kind of grabbing the gun this way, right? That'll only allow you so much pressure. If you think about a nutcracker that has the hinge at the top and it cracks the nut in the middle of the mechanism, right? You can get a ton more pressure by putting your fingers together here and then crushing back this way. So if you had something like the size of a baseball or an apple or something like that, put your wrist together and try and crush it this way first, right? And then put your fingers together and crush this way and see which one gives you more pressure. I think you'll find that this one here gives you a ton more pressure. So this allows me to crush the gun without having to put any tension in my forearm or tendons on my shooting hand, because I like to try and keep that nice and relaxed. The more relaxed that is, the faster I can pull the trigger, and also I don't push into the gun and push shots high, right? So make a C, you pull back. You're using these muscles back here because it's a larger muscle group than your forearm to be able to pull back into yourself. And I'm getting this grip here and everything is solid. And then with my thumbs up, let me show you the difference here. So I don't know if the camera will focus, but if my thumbs are forward here, right, and I put tension in my hand, I pull the trigger really quick, you can probably see my thumbs dancing around a little bit, right? That affects the muzzle a little bit, and again, I can't get a strong enough grip here when my wrist is canted forward and my hand tends to slide forward. But when my wrist is in a neutral position and locked out and my thumbs are up, watch how little movement are in my thumbs when I'm squeezing the trigger really fast and hard when they're completely extended up and back, right? So that's how I like to grip the gun. Whenever I get a grip on the gun, I start here at the callus, right? Rotate through, and then my thumbs are up like this. And that allows me, there's around the chamber right now, but I'm out here at a private range that there ain't anybody here, and that's the berm that way. So internet Nazis, safety Nazis, you can relax a little bit, okay? But anyway, so with your thumbs up and back, I can pull the trigger as fast as I want, and nothing's moving, and everything's locked down, and this allows me to keep my wrist neutral, pull back into myself while pushing my palm of my shooting hand forward, and that really puts a cinch onto the gun, okay? And now I actually will shoot and see if you guys can see this here, but I'm going to, first of all, relax my support hand a lot, and I'm going to camp my wrist and put it forward. This is what I think a lot of people do, is they do not grip the gun in a way where it's solid, right, with their support hand. So they tend to over grip with their shooting hand and not grip hard enough with their support hand, and so they cant their wrist forward and then they barely grip, and I think I have a decent amount, yeah. So watch what happens over time as I shoot here when I barely grip onto the support hand as I shoot quickly. Right? My hands start to separate and slide forward on the gun. And I'll put a video attached to this if I haven't already in slow motion of when I'm pulling back into the gun with my support hand hard, putting my thumbs up in a neutral wrist angle, and putting my thumbs up, pulling back in. I'll put a slow motion video as to what happens whenever I'm shooting very quickly in that capacity. Anyway, Sorry for the delay, but I hope that helps. I hope that answers your question. Give it a try, right? So get behind the gun, your fingers in front of the gun. When you touch with your support index finger onto your finger in the trigger guard. Close these fingers, and then crush behind the gun like this so that you're coming together and putting pressure behind it. And use your shoulders. You don't want to like get all tense in your shoulders. You're just using those muscle groups. I'm sure when you saw the video of me shooting earlier, I don't get tense in my shoulders. I'm pulling backwards with the small muscles in my shoulders here. So my shoulders on top aren't going up or getting tense. I'm just pulling back into the gun or into my body with the gun and pushing forward. And then get that wrist at a neutral angle and lock it out. Get your thumbs up, and then you can rock and roll and see if that helps. So anyway, like, subscribe, share, comment. Would love to have more subscribers to the channel. And as we get more time here in the upcoming days, weeks, months, we're going to be putting out more content for you. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the comments below, and I'll see if I can make a video for you to answer any of your questions that you have.